super quick. That's the quickest all time right there.
First.
How's it going?
Good.
Nice.
Good.
I usually have like a minute or two here to let the room fill. Fill room. Party
I
time.
went with like their new fancy, like super fruity tropical ones tonight. See how those go.
Let's go. Nice.
Look at that can. Isn't that fancy?
That's very fancy. That is prestige in a can. What's going on, guys? Everybody's got some energy tonight, I see.
Nice. I feel like this is the first week in a while we haven't had like real big news, in the hobby.
I think that's a fair point.
I don't think anyone got acquired. Well, yeah, maybe there was that one that nobody cared about.
Yeah, Southern Hobby Distributors was acquired by the parent company of Beckett Media. Would you be surprised to know that there were zero questions about that?
No, because I didn't know about it until you sent it to me.
That's right. I can't believe we made it through a week without $20 trillion being pumped into the hobby, but here we are.
To be.
All right. People are here. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the crossover. Today is Friday, July 23rd, and this is the last crossover before National, and there will not be a crossover from National. So this one's going to have to tide you over for 2 weweeks.
You're the audience.
Any announcements?
No. We're going to be at National.
We will be at National, booth 566. We're not going to announce quite yet what our promotion is, but if you come visit our booth, it is very much worth your time. Very, very much worth your time, especially if you are a Card Ladder member. So please visit us. We are making it worth your while.
We are going to be on the main stage.
That's right. We'll be on the main stage Thursday at 12:30. Main stage Thursday at 12:30. So that'll be fun. Come check us out. Spend a half hour with us in person. Good. I have one announcement. On last night's Bill Simmons podcast, Mike Giuseppe, the host of the Sports Card Nonsense podcast, part of the Ringer Podcast Network, was on his show and happened to mention Card Ladder, which was pretty cool. So thank you, Mike. Sports Card Nonsense podcast has become one of my few go-to sports card podcasts these days. Really like where they've taken it over the last few months. And I enjoy talking to Mike on Clubhouse. He is a Clubhouse pro. So shout out to those guys. Thank you for the mention. And great job, Mike. Mike was the headlining guest on a show that also featured Matt Damon. So nice work. All right. Quick couple of questions about Card Ladder's fantasy contest. Oh, that's a good one, Cage. I'm actually going to write that down for when we get to the million questions we have about the National. The Card Ladder fantasy contest. J Pine 38. What's up, J Pine? He wants to know who is winning the contest, and Riley Peranto would like an update for the last week. We are in the last week of Card Ladder's fantasy contest. The winner, don't forget, is taking home this box of 2019-20 Prism. Remember that guy Zion? I don't know if anybody remembers him or not, but his rookies are in there. And also first, second, and third get a year free of Card Ladder Pro. What's going on with the Card Ladder Fantasy, man? How are we doing over there?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me. I think South is still winning, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys over 16,000, and they shot up. Yeah, and they shot up right away. Right away during the contest, they shot up. So here we go. So we've got South, aka PG and Kawhi #1 fan, at 16.7K. House of Cards is at 16.4K. And David, mostly 90s basketball card, is at 16K. And then fourth place is Anonymous. So
Nice.
what do you think? Is somebody going to go over 20K? Or is 16.7 going to take it home?
It's been pretty flat for a while. I feel like 16's been the number for a week or so. Yeah, there might be a push at the end, but I think the guy that's in second has that Durant gold that kind of pushed him up. I'm not sure if that's going to go up much more, and I have to look at South has a lot of stuff. He might go up, and then who's in third? Mostly 90s. I think he's in the chat. He has a chance to still go up, so maybe.
Good. It'll be fun to see how this one wraps up as we close the home stretch here. All right, let me fire off the first question.
All right.
From Jose, JGP45. Topic, Giannis bringing a championship to Milwaukee, not having to join a super team to do so. And relatedly, but the other side of the coin, Underdog Cards says, Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday all signed long-term. Do I smell a dynasty? Please discuss. What do you think about this?
It's a dynasty already after one season? Damn. We just hand out dynasties now. No, I think I picked the Bucks to come out of the East from the beginning, did I not?
Did.
So happy for them. Not winning as a super team, winning as a not super team. I mean, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton are no slouches. They're both all-stars. Drew Holiday is a first-team all-defense. Oh, it seems like every year, and that team is not bad. And they would have lost to a super team if the super team Nets had all their players, I think, right? I mean, it seemed like they were rolling over them, and then Kyrie got hurt, and Harden was half there. But congrats to the Bucks. They took advantage. You know, you can only play what's in front of you, and they won. So I don't know if it's a dynasty. I'm not sure if I can call it that. There's just so much talent in the NBA. I think they're third favorites for next year. So like, you know, the odds are definitely against them being a dynasty. I don't see see them anywhere near being like the Warriors or anything like that.
Yeah.
And the Nets will be back. The Lakers will probably reload. The Suns will be there again. The Jazz, the Sixers might fix some things. Like, there's still a lot of good teams in the NBA.
Yeah, there are. And let me focus on the other question, the topic about Giannis bringing a championship to Milwaukee and not having to join a super team to do so. Yeah, it's true that 2/3 of the three best players on Milwaukee are homegrown talents, which is Middleton, who came over after 1 year, came over to Milwaukee. He was a late pick, and Giannis, who was a mid-first round pick. And both of those guys were developed in Milwaukee. They're homegrown talents. And Holiday was added this past offseason. Depending upon who you ask, Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday are 3 of the top 30 players in the NBA. That's not exactly a big 3 that's on par with Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, who you might say are 3 of the top 12 or the top 15 or the top 10 players in the league, depending upon how you rank them. But 3 top 30 players, 2 of which were all-stars this past year, and 3 of which who have been all-stars at some point in their career. Those are 3 good players. Those are 3 really, really good players. Is it forming a super team like Durant's going to the Warriors? No, it's not like that. But it's a good team, and it's a well-rounded team, and it took big games from all 3 of those guys and big moments from all 3 of those guys to defeat an injury-riddled Brooklyn Nets, to overcome the Hawks without Giannis during the final 2 games of that series, and then to overcome the Suns. It just kind of just so happened that like Drew Holiday played his best game of the finals, going up against the Suns having one of their best games as a team. If you kind of shook up the dice of that game and rolled them that series and rolled them again, the Suns the game 5 Suns might play the game 6 Bucks and win, and then you've got a whole different situation. So I heard Giannis too in like some of his post game press conference, kind of emphasizing how in fact, I think the quote was he could have had 2 or 3 titles, but he did it the right way and has won. I think that's a little bit disrespectful to the team, the rest of the Milwaukee Bucks. It's a good team. Is it a super team? No, but it's a good team. And that should be acknowledged, I think, here. But with that said, the part of the story about him bringing a championship to Milwaukee is terrific. We did a Sports Cards Culture episode way back before the season was starting, and we talked about how Giannis re-signing with Milwaukee was a pretty cool thing. And I think it still is. And I'm super happy he did. Super happy for those 80 million people who were surrounding the Fiserv Forum during the finals, especially Game 6. Super happy for all of our Bucks fans. Super happy for Giannis. We'll have lots of more questions about him, but that's a take I wanted to get off there.
Yeah, 2 or 3 rings. Where would he have gotten them?
I don't know. Gestured a little too hard there. I don't know.
Even if you go join a super team, it's still not a given that you're going to win a title. Just look at the Nets this year. Like, it's definitely not a given. You still got to win the games, and you got to be healthy, and you got to. Only one team wins. That's the hard part about this, dude. And people ask me about the Suns, like, am I sad? Suns made the finals, and they didn't make the fucking playoffs last year. They wildly went past my expectations this year, and they had a great run. I went to a lot of the games. It was a great season. They just came up short. Only one team can win it all. So, the bummer is that, like, when you get to those spots, if you don't take advantage, it's tough to get. That's the disappointing part, but Suns played great. It was a fun time to watch them, and Bucks took advantage, and they got a ring.
Yeah, they did. Josh, I'm getting a spinning wheel on you. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I'm getting a spinning wheel on you.
You're good. Okay. Am I back too?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Next question from In Cardboard Veritas. He says, I posted yesterday that I think Giannis's 2 closest historical comps are Kevin Garnett and Hakeem Olajuwon. With what Giannis just did at age 26, I think he is clearly on track to surpass Garnett's legacy and has a chance to ascend past Hakeem the Dream into the top 10 or 12 of all time. One more ring and one more Finals MVP, along with the regular season accolades he's likely to achieve, and he probably does it. Can you discuss your thoughts on Giannis's next 10 years and your guesses on his ultimate place in the Pantheon? And relatedly, is there a more genuine and likable superstar on the planet?
Oh, those are good comps for sure. I like the Hakeem comp. I mean, I like their style of play is obviously incredibly different, but you're not gonna be able to comp Giannis's style of play to anybody. The career path, yeah. You know what, dude? You know how we were comparing Mahomes to Giannis? Dude, now they're like the same guy now.
Yeah.
That's like one of the best comps ever across sport. Giannis and Mahomes right now, they both have 1 ring. They're both probably the best player in the world, depending on how you want to shape it out. And they're trying to take it from LeBron/Brady. Like it's a very similar situation. I don't know, man. I don't like comping players that are 26 to guys that are, 10, 20 years removed from their careers. It's just tough. He has so much time left, so many seasons to be played. He's off to a great start. He's, I think it was pointed out, he's one of, if not the most accomplished players of all time at 26. 2-time MVP, Finals MVP. Those are great accolades. He's got a long way to go, and excited to see where he goes from here.
I took this question and I made an Instagram story poll out of it, and 69% of the respondents said that Giannis is on track to be top 10 of all time, and 31% said he is not. That's incredible. That's pretty incredible. Real TJ Force says, take another look at Giannis's playoff PER, because I had posted during the Atlanta Hawks series an observation that I had made, which was that at that time Giannis's PER in the playoffs was 23 point something, which was his second worst playoff PER of his entire career. And to me, it was interesting that he was having one of his worst playoffs. But he definitely turned that around in the finals, including the 50 burger in Game 6 to win. Giannis ended up with the fourth best PER of anybody in the playoffs. The three that had a better PER were Kawhi Leonard, 30.6, Damian Lillard, 30.4, and Nikola Jokic, 29.6. And the most games that any of those guys played was 11, whereas Giannis played 21, so a larger sample size for Giannis. But the drop-off to his PER is substantial, 27.6. So Giannis pulled up the average of his PER quite a bit in the finals. But still, it was not his best playoff PER. Last year in the playoffs, his PER was 31. But having the best individual statistics doesn't necessarily translate into championships or team success. So
Yeah. I mean, he's been one of the best PER players of all time in the last few years, and they hadn't won. So, like, to your point, that doesn't always translate. Last year, he only played 3 playoff games, though, right?
No, they beat the
Oh, they beat the Magic. You're right. So he played 8 games.
Yeah, something like that. Didn't make it out of the second round.
And he got hurt at the end of that series, remember?
Yep. He also headbutted somebody in the bubble playoffs last year as well. All right, 100 Cardboards says, you would think Giannis winning the championship would take his entire markets into a wild buying frenzy, but that is not happening. Why do you think that is?
This is always like such an interesting question in the hobby because people want the hobby to be simple. They want like these simple rules of like player wins, price goes up. Player goes to LA, price goes up. Player goes to Charlotte, price goes down.
Right.
But it's really not that simple, and it never is going to be because it's a very complex system and market, and there are thousands of variables at play. And one of those variables, probably the most prominent variable, is what do I think is the future potential of this player? That's usually what drives the most value. That's why like guys like Russell Westbrook's value are low, and guys like Trae Young and Luka and younger players are so high because the potential for what they could be is really high. So when you have guys with tons of potential, you start to like bake things into their prices. I think Giannis definitely had a ring baked in already. I think that's part of it. I think the other part is that after someone wins, the perception is that prices go up, so people want to sell at higher prices. So then supply goes up. When supply goes up, price goes down. Other than that, I think, like we didn't really see anything super shocking other than Game 6 was obviously incredible, but like we didn't really see anything super unexpected. They beat the Nets, who had some injuries. I think they were favored to beat the Suns, or maybe it was the Suns by a little bit, but nothing was really like super shocking. So we didn't really have like this big moment where it's like, oh my God, Giannis is way better than I ever thought he was. Time to go buy his cards. Like we already knew how good he was. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you absolutely nailed it. And let me just bring up, sort of Giannis's index card, so to speak, and then we'll look at his index. Let's look at it over the last month. So the Giannis Prison Base PSA 10 over the last month, it was trading at $2,000 a month ago, and yesterday it was up to $2,500. So it's up about 25% over the last month. If you look at the last 3 months, however, it's down from being at three grand. If you look at the last 6 months, it's down from being at about 4 grand. And if you look at the last year, it's down from being over 7 grand during last August. All right, so that's the state of his card. It's up month over month for sure. And then here's his index, his total market index, which is aggregating 134 cards. You can kind of zoom in here as we zoom in on the more recent times. His index was riding high during the first 4 months of the year, first 3 months of the year, as many were, and now it has dropped down about 25%. So, as Josh, I think, rightly pointed out, this is not a simply correlated market where good performance of a great player means value goes up. There are ways to get a taste of that type of action. It's called sports betting. If you want a quick, easy return on predicting a win or a loss, go visit your local sports book. This is a little different. This collecting has a lot to do with fandom and about the desire to own memorabilia and cards that celebrate a player. And those ebbs and flows are controlled by market dynamics that feature opportunistic sellers and emotion-driven buyers. And so, like Josh said, there's lots of variables that are going to influence price, not just on court or on the field performance. And I saw some people in the chat discuss that some stuff is baked in to his prices already. Definitely, definitely. There's no doubt that people I put a story to my Instagram story today asking people, is Giannis on track to be top 10 all time? And 69% said yes. And these are all hobby people, right? So, I mean, what's baked into Giannis's prices? For some people, it's the expectation that he's one of the absolute historic all-time top 10 great players ever.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's why, but there is an upward movement in his prices. But that's always going to be countered in moments like this by a flood of supply. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to see his stuff settle back down again here. And then we get ready for next season. And the longer it goes without guys playing, the more their prices are going to go up, potentially leading into next season. So,
yeah, just go look at the Mahomes Prism Silver PSA 10 rookie after he won the Super Bowl. It dipped, and then it just had a crazy run up. I mean, a lot of that's just because the hobby blew up, but like, if you're looking around and you're confused why Giannis prices aren't exploding through the roof and you think they should, go fucking buy his cards.
That's right. If
all you Buffetts out there, you Buffett guys, you get out there and buy his freaking cards. What are you looking at me for? Wait, where did you get that?
Thank you to Yamwax. He sent me this. Warren Buffett.
That's hilarious. Beat SGC 10. Hey, Chris, go buy his fucking cards.
Let me ask you this. Let's put it a different way. Did Giannis become more collectible to you after this championship?
No, I hate him now because he beat my Suns, dude.
That's real though, dude. That's seriously real. Like, think about how many other players are hated because of rivalries.
I was rooting for that dude hardcore, and then they got to the finals, and I was like, I hate this guy. He gets every fucking foul call ever every time he drives to the basket. It's like you completely flip when you're a fan. You just you look at things differently. Yeah. If I was rooting for the Bucks, I'd be like, yeah, because he's more aggressive, guys. He drives the hole stronger than the other team. But as a Suns fan, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you get every foul call, you shoot 100 free throws, must be nice.
Right, no doubts. No doubts. Okay, let me address the comment. Chasing cards, I'm not sure at what point in our discussion this was made, but it's an interesting comment. He says, under that logic, then, retired players are a bad buy. And so hopefully I'm not going to be inconsistent here, but it's an interesting remark. And what I would say to that is retired players, their collectability is largely dependent on how emotionally attached and how important their legacy is to fans of sports and just fans of humans. I mean, can we even generalize it to that? Just that's what we are. We celebrate history. We enjoy the hobby. We enjoy collecting. We like cards. It's a pretty neat and tidy ecosystem of an intersection of kind of sports and culture and collectibles. And retired players, to me, I find them very appealing because they're what they symbolize, the nostalgia they conjure up, or the place in history that they have. What do you think about that?
I think once a player retires, the variables which drive their prices just change. Like it changes into how they're remembered. It changes into if people have nostalgia for them, from when they were younger, or like you said, if they have an emotional connection to them going for a long time. I think that's why we harp on focusing. If you're thinking about like financial investments with cards, you need to focus on players who are going to last past their playing days. Because once, like, if you take a player, like a young player today, and all of their value and excitement is driven by what they could do, if they don't meet that, then eventually, like, people are going to lose interest in them forever, and like they'll never have anything to drive potential anymore, and they're just going to be, they're going to kind of tread towards zero for a long time. So like keep that in mind that a lot of guys eventually, once they retire and stuff, they're just like people will forget and they'll just kind of go down. Only the truly special players can flip that variable into, having really long-term value. So that's why when you're looking at retired players, the pool of guys you want to choose from are basically like legends and Hall of Famers. Whereas today, guys that have value are, almost everybody in the league to a certain extent.
Yeah, and in the league, the talent pool in the league, especially the young talent pool, is starting to feel really crowded. And it's starting to feel really difficult to, say, okay, these are like the top 5, and this is all we need to focus on because you've got lots of talented guys. That leads into the next question quite nicely. Lingua Sports Card says, other than Giannis, which player or players impressed you the most during the 2021 NBA playoffs?
Chris Paul.
Yep.
Dude, he went bananas in the closeout game of round 2 and 3, and I thought he solidified himself as one of the all-time greats, to be honest with you. Like, I know people are like, oh, he choked again in the finals. Like, it blows my mind, Chris, that like people are just like so quick to just say guys suck because they're the second best team in the league. It's crazy to me. They beat the Lakers, they beat the Nuggets, the player of the MVP, they beat the Clippers. Like, I get that there were some injuries along the way, but I thought Chris Paul was fantastic. Other players that impressed me during this playoff run, Paul George. I thought he did a great job. He got further than he took the Clippers to further than they've ever been without Kawhi. Took the Suns to 6. He single-handedly won Game 5 on the road. I was at that game and he was just spectacular. And again, people want to hate on him for all these different reasons, but still a great player. Let's see. Trae Young played a lot better than I thought. I thought he was great. He led the Hawks to way further than I thought they'd go. They beat the Sixers. They upset the Sixers on the road in Game 7. Trae Young was great. I thought Devin Booker played pretty good.
Yeah, man, he had back-to-back 40-point games in the NBA Finals.
He had that was the record for most points in a 2-game stretch in NBA Finals history. And people say in a 2-week stretch, he went from he's overrated and terrible to he's now Kobe Bryant to he's back to being terrible. Like, I was listening to a Ryan Russillo podcast, and he was like, "This is the worst time to listen to media people right now because it's like they're just gonna say the most crazy stuff because all the plot lines are done and the stories are being written and it's all being put to paper with pen and people are just gonna say crazy stuff like Giannis is top 10 all time, Booker's terrible, Chris Paul's a choke artist, he's never gonna win." It's like, oh my gosh. And again, so if Chris Paul had lost in the first round, we wouldn't have cared. But since he lost in the finals, it gives us more time to talk about him and how he chokes. It just blows my mind, dude. So like, to me, all these guys are way more in the middle than what people want to say they are.
Right on. Let me add a few more names to this list.
Yeah, please.
Donovan Mitchell. Hey,
yep.
This guy becomes Michael Jordan in the freaking playoffs, man. I don't know what it is or why, but he goes ham in the playoffs. He does it every year. And even when he was hobbled with injury, he was still really impressive in this year's playoffs. Kawhi Leonard has to be mentioned. He led the playoffs in PER. He brought the Clippers back from what looked like an insurmountable hole when they were down 20 points in the first quarter and down 0-2 to the Mavericks in round 1. And I saw a chart the other day that showed players' effective field goal percentages from the regular season to the playoffs, and just like Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi's effective field goal percentage just goes nuts in the playoffs. He just becomes a much better player in the playoffs. Kevin Durant, that 50-point game was phenomenal, and he almost, if his toe wasn't on the line, we're talking about a totally different outcome this year. That's how close.
He's coming off an Achilles. He's coming off a freaking ruptured Achilles.
Definitely. Kyrie showed his value to the Nets. Some people are like, oh, he's interchangeable. There's too many. But look, when Kyrie went down, the Nets' chances slipped and vanished. Middleton and Holiday, man, both so there's Chris Middleton had 15 go-ahead or game-tying shots in the fourth quarter, which tied LeBron for the most ever in the last 25 years. That's incredibly clutch in one playoff run. That's incredibly clutch. And Drew Holiday, sometimes he would shoot like 3 for 30. That's a small exaggeration, but not by much. But even those games, on those games, his defense was really good. And then he had a few games where, he had some games where he couldn't even, I wouldn't even trust him to make a wide open layup. And they had other games where he was just a marksman and nothing would miss. And he was terrific from distance, from up close, from mid-range. Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday definitely earned their stripes. And the chat wants an acknowledgement of Frank Kaminsky. So Frank Kaminsky is acknowledged as well. Lots of and no round one. I don't want to talk about anybody who went out in round one. No acknowledgement to those players. It's
I don't. Yeah, Jokic doesn't get anything from me. Dame doesn't get anything from me.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid and Simmons don't get anything. It's guys that flamed out before they should have don't get anything.
Totally.
I want to talk about I think Coach Bud too. He was being accused of being the worst coach in the NBA, and now nobody wants to talk about it. That he made the adjustments and they won 4 games in a row. Nobody wants to give him any credit for that. It's all Giannis. But Coach Bud, to me, it's just crazy, man. People are saying he's the worst coach in the league off of 2 games. And they made the adjustments. They put Holiday on Chris Paul, and they pressured him full court. They put Giannis more in a better position to score down low. Dude, whatever, man. People are just so crazy to me. This guy's terrible. 1 game, man. Just let the series play out. It's a long series. Just relax. The best team and the best players always win.
So on that point, Cal's Coins Cards wrote in to say, please take a victory lap on your comments on the June 11th crossover from about the 8:30 minute mark to the 9:30 minute mark on YouTube. And sure, why not? I went back and I listened to that, and it was us talking about how being up 2-0 in a playoff series does not mean the series is over. And we were talking about that in the context of the second round of the playoffs when the Bucks were down 0-2, I think, to the Nets. And we were just kind of saying that a series isn't over just because it's 0-2 and people overreact. And yeah, I mean, Milwaukee came back from a really deep 0-2 hole. And for a while there, it was feeling like Milwaukee would have been lucky to escape that series to not get 4-0'd. It felt like that for the first 2 games. But they made adjustments, like you said, and Bud made some big adjustments.
You know how to appear really smart. Here's a pro tip for everyone. If you want to appear to be a smart person, you should when you're making proclamations or saying statements about players and stuff, say things after someone's done something 100 times in a row. And then you could say it, and you'll be right because it's happened. Instead of trying to predict and guess, the same can be said for the card market. If you're trying to predict that Miles Turner is going to be this explosive PER beast and his cards are going to triple, you're probably going to look like an idiot. Whereas if you say, I think LeBron's a pretty good player, his cards seem to be a pretty safe bet. We already know what he is. I've seen it for 15, 16 years. I look like I'm smart because I just said something that's happened a million times over. Guess what? Michael Jordan's really good at basketball. That's not that crazy of a statement anymore. I don't know. I guess that's the media today, and that's how people get clicks. Is they say something that's crazy and might be true, might not be true, and it just kind of is it's so insane that people just want to react to it and go crazy. I don't know. I miss the days of people just saying things that are a given, that 100% already happened, or we know it's going to happen again.
Yeah, and it's so I love that Russello segment of his podcast where he talks about how the media is going to say some really stupid things after anything happens of occasion in the NBA, and we're going to get these wild takes for 2 days after the finals are over. And that is a pocket of time when you can just have a sober, rational, calm thought and say something like, actually the Suns had a pretty good season.
Yes. I mean, I was obviously upset for 24 hours, but now that I've had time to think about it, the Suns made the NBA Finals, dude.
Yeah.
I know, and they were up 2-0, and I went to game 2 of the NBA Finals, and the Suns were up 2-0. That, if you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have thought you were insane. So, you got to kind of like take it for what it is and realize what the expectation is going into it and measure it from there.
Yeah, and on the flip side, have a sober take about the Bucks too. Like, they weren't beating the Nets without some serious injury help. That's fine. It's part of the game. Availability is the best ability. But that's the more sober, rational take here, is that a lot of things broke right for that to happen. And something's gonna have to change. Will they come back better next year? Probably. This was the first year of their big three being together. Big threes get better as time goes on.
The other one is like, people are like, I told you AD was terrible. I told you guys, like, gosh, you just can't count it. They won the championship last year. It's like he's proven that he can get through the season and win the championship, but now all of a sudden he needs to like fire everybody that he's ever worked with, and he needs to like, I told you guys he wasn't gonna get. You don't know that. You didn't know that until after it happened.
The Lakers takes are the worst. We have a question later on about the state of the LeBron market right now, so I'll save it for then. But like, people are like, oh, the Lakers need to sign Damian Lillard and they need to sign DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. And, I'm just like, wait a minute, guys.
They have infinite money?
Well, yeah. Putting that aside. They were the prohibitive favorites to win going into the playoffs this year. Anthony Davis got injured. Okay? When your second best player or your 1A, 1B player gets injured, what do you expect is going to happen? Assuming that they come back at full health next year, they're going to be the favorites to win again. Like, so just chill with the overreactions on the Lakers.
Anthony Davis was a bum. He won the championship 9 months ago.
All right. South Park Cards 2 says, will the Suns make the playoffs next year?
Come on, man.
If CP3 leaves, Clay is back, and Memphis is healthy with Jaren Jackson Jr.
I mean, I think so, right? I don't think you drop off that far. The team's got confidence now, and I think Ayton found something this year. I think he's proven to be a good player over a long stretch. Bridges improved a lot. Booker knows who he is. If they lose Chris Paul and nothing else changes, they'll definitely struggle to win any playoff series. But I don't know. We'll see.
Last question on the NBA Finals. Sports Cards 1532 says, how insanely cool is it that all three Antetokounmpo brothers have a ring?
Sure. One of them has a ring. The other two got rings.
One got a ring. The other two received a ring. All right.
One earned a ring. The other two were given rings.
That works too. Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
Questions about the National. Lots of them.
Yep.
So our buddy Adam Lefko comes with the question, Chris, what is it like to have home court advantage for the National? It's great. It's really, really great. The National is like an hour away from where I live. So hopefully that helps somehow. But I also like going on the road. I like getting out and away. And the National feels like it should be a journey. So, Josh, do you mind it being a trip rather than being in your backyard?
Yeah, I'm good with the whole airlines, flying thing and getting to my hotel and situated. I like that process, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, Cage says of the Luka, Tigers, and LeBron's podcast, besides me, meaning him, which hobby celebrity are you most looking forward to meeting at the National?
Who asked this?
Cage.
Who?
Okay, that's on.
There's Adam. I would definitely say Adam Lefko. He posted the story today, which was hilarious, about He's only gonna go if I make a wash appearance. So I was like, yeah, man. I thought that was pretty clever of me to do the hat emoji with the turnaround. Did
With
you catch that?
Yep, that
You
was
catch
very.
that?
I hope it didn't take too long to find the emojis and everything.
No, I search my emojis when I'm not, I'm just like hat. Fine, no, there it is. Oh, turn, there it is. Yeah, I'd say Lefko. I haven't met him in person yet, so I've met a lot of the guys already. Trying to think of someone else I haven't met. You have any names?
Card porn. I can't wait to meet card porn. We're having a secret meeting there at the National, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Ken Golden.
Ken Golden, yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to meeting Ken.
I've never met Ken before in person. There's one.
Yeah, of course, Lefko too, man. That's some hobby news, man. We said there was no hobby news this week. Wrong. Adam Lefko coming to the National is the infusion of capital, human capital, that the hobby needed this week. And of course, all the content creators. I'm not going to name one, all of them. I can't wait to meet a lot of you guys and fire off some things at each other.
Chris doesn't remember your name, so he's just saying all of you.
Right. Lefko said, "What's your process?" Specifically referring to the travel, I think. Flying in, getting to your hotel. What's your process, and why do you like it?
Oh, I don't know. It's very organized. I have my ticket on my phone, get through the line, scan it. Christina knows what I'm talking about. Chris, don't laugh. You don't even know what I'm talking about. You like to do things last minute, and you like let other people plan your trips for you. You just figure out what happens the night of. You drive me crazy. I like how it's all organized.
There is something satisfying about a plan, seeing the plan through.
What would you know about that?
I've only heard good things.
Seeing Christina's plan through is always nice when it works out.
Yes, all thanks to Wash, indeed. All thanks to Wash. All right. VX661 wants to know, how is Cardletter going to add sales data from the National? That is the question. I took this question two different ways. Number one, if you mean how are we going to record sales that happen on the floor of the National, any Cardletter Pro member can submit any one of those sales instantly using the Submit the Private Sale feature. If you don't know how to do that, just search the feed for a private sale, and there's a little explainer for how to do that. If the question is, how are we going to continue to track the aggregate data picture while we're at the National? Simple. The team is still going to be working while we're at National. So have no fear. The data never stops flowing over here at Cardladder, and we take it very, very seriously. We have accurate data. And that when we post charts of things to social media, that they are accurate.
I think every graph, if it's not up and right, what's the point of posting it, dude?
I don't know. Yeah.
But to be more blunt, if you have a sale that has occurred at the National, and please submit it to us for review.
Yep.
Not just if you want to see it, but you should submit it for everyone in the community to be able to get that sale as a comp. Submit it to us, we'll review it. All private sales that occur at the National are up for the ability to be submitted into Cardletter.
Yes, they are. And look, if you're at the show and you want to submit a sale and you're not sure how, just come to our booth. We'll be there. Somebody at the booth can help you out. 566. All right. Blinding.
Dude, I feel like competing products should start to add more sources to their tracking systems. Do you think?
I think if you're only capturing eBay sales at this point in hobby history, your data is not very insightful. All right. Blinding 90s says, what percentage of the rare grails that will be on display at the National are simply there for the limelight, not truly for the sale?
80%. That's mean. Okay, that's mean. I'll say 60%.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So I have two minds on this. On the one hand, it is so annoying when people just show off their cards. just for the ego boost of it, right? And like, there's a difference between somebody who's like sharing their card versus somebody who's like, bow down to me because I have this. And like, I couldn't tell you exactly how to identify the difference, but like, it exists. There's a difference. And for the people who are just like, please roll out a red carpet before walking, you know, here's my untouchable PC, like, that's annoying. But people who like bring their cards, they don't really want to sell them, but like, they have cool cards and they're humble about it and chill about it. Love to see those.
You just called out like 20 hobby goats in your little rant right there. I don't know if you know that.
If you think that was about you and you're a hobby goat, it wasn't. Don't worry about that. It was not about you.
I thought of like 7 people who are going to be like, really, Chris? Really? Do you even know me, bro? It's the intent. Are you saying that's the intent?
It is the intent. And it's hard to like, I couldn't tell you the test to determine it in advance, but you know it when you see it. You know when somebody's genuinely there to just, hey, these are my cards. They're not for sale, but like, I just want to show them off. Versus somebody who's like, I'm better than you because I have better cards than you, and drool on my display case, please.
So it's like card porn. You know it when you see it?
That's really good. That's like a nice legal joke there. Taking it back to the Supreme Court and pornography cases. That's awesome. But with that being said, I don't have an issue with people who bring cards to show off and they're not for sale. I don't have an issue with that. Maybe it's because I'm a guy who has no interest in or cannot afford 99% of the grails that I'll see at the show. So I already have a mindset, like, I'm not trying to negotiate and buy these cards. So I don't care if there's a price tag on it or not. It's cool to see the card. Whereas, you know, some other people might be trying to negotiate and buy those cards, and then it's like a temptation. It's like somebody dangling something, but it's not really available. But I personally don't have a problem with people bringing cards to show off.
I said 60% because the prices are like so high that you clearly only want to sell it if someone's just going to be like really insane about it. But like the people, if you actually made an insane offer, you could pretty much get anything you want. You know, there's a price for everything. If it's at the National, people only brought it if there's some small chance that they would sell it at some price. I'll say that. So there's a chance to get everything on the floor. The people who really, really don't want to sell something, they'll leave that stuff at home.
That's a great point. Nice looking cardboard says, I'm having some last minute apprehension. This is my first card show, let alone my first national. Will it just be a flexagram full of golds and PMGs? What might trading be like for me as a collector who buys what he likes?
No, it will not be a sea of golds and PMGs. Can you help translate that question for me a little more?
I was just hoping this was going to be one of the ones where I didn't really get it, but you got it and gave an answer, and then we just moved on.
It just sounds like that person is a little bit nervous about the unknown of what's going to happen, like what cards are going to be there, what the vibe's going to be, you know, how trades happen. I would just say go into it with the approach of like having fun with it and not giving yourself the pressure of making a deal. I think that's the biggest mistake people make is they feel, I flew out here, I made the trip, I got to buy something, I got to find a deal, I have to come home with a card, and I've paid for less than what it's worth kind of thing, and I have to flip something. You know, I see all these videos from guys like Sasha, and I have to make this huge deal, right? I think that's going to do yourself a disservice. Go into it with the mindset of just having fun. So there's my little spiel.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And lean into the apprehension.
Yes.
It's actually a special thing when something in life gets your anxiety or your blood flowing, and enjoy it and lean into it and savor it. Slabs to Men says, what should we expect from the trade nights during the National? What is the best way to navigate them all?
Trade nights. It's cool because like it's kind of like a reverse show where like there's no, you know, the setup of having a dealer kind of control the negotiation and control, how the deal goes down because they're the ones behind the table and they're telling you what's for sale. The trade night kind of flips it on its head, and it's kind of like everyone's on equal playing field, so it's fun in that regard. I don't know. I would guess I would just treat it like it's a big open Instagram where everyone's in person and the communication is happening much quicker and more efficiently. And people are like, because they're there, they're more like in the mindset of making a deal happen. When you're at home, you're just sort of like sitting back and waiting for the perfect opportunity. But here it's like this kind of forced nature of like, hey, people should be doing things. You should be moving cards. So like there's a lot of action going on. And so if you want to get involved and have fun with it, jump in and just start, showing your cards and making deals. I think it's pretty fun to watch. You could just honestly just sit back and watch people just make deals because there's a lot going on.
Yeah. What about the fact that there's like numerous trade nights going on? Like Thursday night, there's two, for example, at least two.
Go to the one which you feel more of your friends will be at.
That's good. Yeah.
Go in groups. Go in groups. Decide as a group where you all want to go, and if you've got a crew with you, and you go to trade nights together, and then you kind of disperse once you get there and meet up at points. It's fun that way.
Yeah. I've gone to dozens of trade nights in my life. Christine and I used to go to them all the time in Los Angeles. Yeah. And worship me. No, I've gone to all these trade nights and I never bring cards. Look, I go and I just want to talk to people and I want to see what's going on. Don't be me, because sometimes I'm the guy who's like watching a deal happen and then I might walk up and start talking to it and just like, no, just back off. Just don't get involved. Just let people do their trades, and then just if people are available to talk, talk. But I like to go to them. I just like to talk to people. I like to take the temperature, like to see what people are saying. That's a totally fine way to make use of a trade night, is do zero trading and just hang out with people.
Yep, that's a very interesting thing to observe.
Yeah. Patriot Sports Card says, probably an obvious thing here, but please discuss if the $840K sale of the 86 Fleer Jordan with a PWCCS designation and PWCC saying it's the nicest copy it ever brokered, and also last weekend a 3840K sale happened as well for PSA 10. Please, if that sale will bring any momentum to the 86 Fleer set and or the entire basketball markets heading into the National. I don't feel like there will be an instant impact like there was in February. I think dealers of the National will test the market and raise their prices somewhat, primarily on Jordan stuff, but I doubt Modern will be impacted much.
I think that person answered the question perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll be impacted much. I think dealers will expect that they should be raising their prices and they should get more money, but I don't think buyers are going to bite on that.
Definitely.
It could be detrimental. It could be bad because less transaction will happen because now sellers feel like they should be getting $800,000 for all their cards. That's
been a huge problem at shows ever since February. Was that as the market started ticking down, especially people who had bought in at the peak, especially dealers, but people wanting to get the February prices when the cards that they're selling were now like a third of their February value.
I was so annoyed last week when people are like, "Oh, the Jordan limited logo is sold for $780,000. What's my card worth? That has nothing to do with that card. What is my Kobe limited logos worth, guys? Is it now 7x what it was before because the Jordan sold for $800,000? First of all, that Jordan was a PSA 9 Pop 1. So the people who were bidding that probably wanted the only PSA version of that card. So that probably drew up a big premium. It was wasn't it the 2003 limited logos? It's like the original Exquisite. So I saw people being like, what's my Carmelo 2009 Exquisite worth? It's like, what? It's not even like related at all to this card. Like so that's what's going to be annoying at the show is like, oh, Gary Vee said that like Jordan autos are like worth a shit ton. So like all my Jordan autos are now worth fucking $500,000, and there's that limited logos that sold for $780. So what does that make mine? It probably makes mine $500,000. And it's like if someone tried to sell me a LeBron card for $180,000, and the last comp on it was $25,000. It's like, are you insane? Do you think that this card went for like 7x? No, are you crazy? Dude, there's like you can keep dreaming that someone's gonna come to your booth and be like, "I will give you $700,000 for that card that you used to sell for 100,000 last week." Like people have wised up that they're not just gonna pay you 8x comps because one crazy auction blew up.
That's so right. And people have smartened up. And also, like, don't set yourself up for a massive disappointment by thinking that your possessions, your cards have gone up 7 times in a month or in a week. That's a big part of how the hobby kind of got some of the wind taken away from underneath its wings over the last half a year. Was everybody thought it was just this infinite roller coaster to the moon that never went down, just kept on climbing, and people really got very disappointed when it proved to not be the case. But now we're seeing this uptick in the market again. It's definitely happening. Many different segments of the market are showing positive indicators right now, and let's not make the same mistake twice of getting of making it out to be more than what it is, and then setting ourselves up for a drastic disappointment. And this bipolar sequence of super high and super low, oscillating back and forth in the hobby. Elevated Card Collector says, we can talk about how pissed I am that SGC is clowning around and not grading or reholdering at National. People are upset about this. Is that 4 to 5 days is going to kill their turnaround times. This is the Super Bowl for cards and the biggest one ever. It seems like poor planning. I have been waiting patiently to have 2 cards graded and 1 reholdered with SGC. One of these cards I refused to mail. Getting SGC to grade at the National was one of my goals. What do you think about this?
I think that I am not SGC, and I will not make an assumption on a decision that they've made internally for their own company.
Yeah. I mean, look, this guy really, really wants SGC to grade his cards. It's a good problem to have.
Fly straight to SGC then.
Yeah, I suppose that's an option. If any grading company out there is interested in serving the grassroots and having a positive relationship with customers, it's SGC. I have no doubt that they didn't take that decision. I have no doubt that they took that decision very seriously. And yeah, man, it sucks. It would be great if they were doing on-site grading. It would be great not just for them and not just for you, but it would provide more options to grade on-site. It would make the lines at all the different grading companies a little bit smaller with another option to go grade on site. I wish they would have been able to do it, but I'm sure they have good reason for not being able to do it.
I mean, people would have bitched if they went to National and got behind on their orders.
Yeah.
So they had to make a choice and make someone mad. As you and I well know, no matter what we do, someone's gonna be mad. So you gotta do what's best for you, your company, and as many customers as possible.
Yep. Hey, and when people get mad, that's okay. That means they care. We just watched an episode of Parks and Recreations where Adam Scott's character remarks to Leslie Knope that your weird little town is cool because people go to your town hall meetings and they complain, but they actually care.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes. All right.
She says this to me all the time. She says, I know that you are doing a good job with Card Ladder because you care. So that's how we do it here.
Yeah, definitely. Slab Cement says, are dealers truly open to part cash, part trade deals? What is the best way to approach this? Years back, I believe this sort of thing would have been scoffed at by dealers.
No, it's definitely, especially like what we talked about just before this, which was people are going to want insane prices on their stuff because, they reference some golden auction that's unrelated. So because of that, so if you're not going to do cash, then you're going to have to be open to trade because I'm going to value my stuff super high if you're going to do that to you. And that's what we saw at Dallas was a lot of people doing trades instead. So dealers are definitely open to part cash, part trade. I mean, I don't want to speak for all the dealers, but basically all of them, to a certain extent. You just got to ask them what they'd be interested in, show them what you have. You guys pulled this off, right? I mean, you busted out cards and figured out values and worked through it. It just takes a little bit more time.
Yeah, look, a card, this isn't an exaggeration. A card that was worth $2,000 5 years ago, 10 years ago, is worth $20,000 now. And people are much more comfortable carrying around or transacting a few $1,000s in cash versus tens of thousands in cash. And also people, have collections and they don't want to just like, maybe they want to trade a little bit of their card equity out to get a new card in rather than plunking down a large fee, a large amount of cash. So I think dealers, because of the way that card prices have gone up, dealers are understanding and they're happy to take part cash and part trade. And the thing that can really grease the wheel of the trade aspect of things is if you're offering up super liquid cards that the dealer knows if they put in their display case and they price at or a little bit under eBay, that they can move them quickly. So that's the thing that can really grease the deal, is having cards you can package into a trade that are as good as cash, that are super liquid, super easy to know the value of, super easy to trade and to sell.
Yep.
Cardporn says, let's talk about being safe at the National, both as dealers and attendees. We just posted a video today that shows how quickly, just a quick hand gesture, how quickly the Luka card was stolen from the Dallas Card Show.
Yeah, we talked about this on SEC. It's obviously going to be super, super important. And, I think the biggest thing for me on this front is that we all kind of work together as a team here. And, we use everyone's eyes and awareness of what's going on to, crowdsource stopping it. Not only protect your own stuff, which obviously you should be doing first and foremost, is doing everything you can to reduce the risk for your own things, putting them inside sealed containers, bags, keeping them away from just being out in the open and being able to be snatched. And if you're a dealer, having them in a case with a key lock, et cetera, all these different things. But other than that, if you're watching your own stuff and you have 15 other people also watching your stuff, it's 15 times more protected than if it was just you. So do the same for other people around you and do your best to try to help, just be aware of what's going on. And the guy that you referenced ended up getting caught, right? And the community worked together on it. We posted videos about it. We, shamed him out of the hobby now. So stuff like that we can work together on. And safety in numbers, yes, thank you.
Yeah, totally. Great points. Everybody look out for everybody else. Everybody be super careful, be super vigilant. Lock your bags, lock your possessions, never let them out of your sight, never leave them in a vulnerable place. Just be super duper careful. Like Josh said too, I love that take. Be on the lookout, not just for your own stuff, but for everybody else's too. If everybody else does that, then there's going to be a good chance that anybody trying something is going to get seen by at least somebody. And be careful too. Just be super careful. It's getting late in the game, but get your insurance together. If you don't have collectibles insurance, get that together.
Yep. And just don't bring stuff.
Yeah, it's completely fine to bring stuff.
The best way to not have a baby is don't have sex. The best way to not get your cards stolen is don't bring them.
Oh, that's great. Okay, Dormant Stash says, after the National concludes, what do you think will be the most talked about headline?
After the National concludes, what do you think it'd be? The most talked about headline amongst the hobby, or a public headline? Because amongst the hobby, it was the cameras at Dallas, right? Are we going to go off that? Just to be a little bit of the pessimist for a minute, I think it's going to be that stuff didn't fly off the shelves like people thought it would. That's
a good one. And I'll do glass half full. I think the takeaway from this is going to be because when I was listening to Sports Card Nonsense on the Bill Simmons podcast, there was some poll reference that said that basically half of the attendees at the National, this is their first one.
Yeah.
And I think the takeaway is going to be, this is mind blowing. This is a crazy experience. It can get you will never want to leave, you just go to a card show all day, you go to dinner and hang out with friends, you go to the casino at night, you come back the next day, it's just being in this fantasy world, and you don't want it to end. And I think people are just gonna love it. They're gonna love the experience, and they're gonna pine for it, and it's gonna forge some really strong emotional connection to the hobby. These shows are just something else, and you never want to leave. And they go by way too fast. So I think that's gonna be the big takeaway. Is like all these people who are going to their first national are just gonna be like, man, this is fun.
I think also back to collecting, said it in the comments, but I think the attendance numbers, like the tickets already being sold out for VIP, like weeks before the show. I've never seen that before. You're always able to get those, basically leading all the way up to the show. And they couldn't even guarantee that you'll be able to get a general admission if you don't pre-order it before you get there. I've never seen that before. It's going to be fucking packed, man. I think that might be one of them. It's just like the overall excitement. And this is that was the takeaway from Dallas was like, yeah, there weren't a lot of deals happening because like we've been talking about, people were afraid to sell stuff on its way down. But like there were so many people there and so many people were excited, and like it's going to be that times 10, there's going to be so many people.
Yeah, definitely. All right. That'll pretty much do it for the national questions. Stacking Slabs says, can we talk about comps? When comps make sense and when using comps doesn't make sense. The comp mindset can be brutal. It makes sense with liquid, highly transacted cards, but for low pop rare stuff, it drives me crazy. I think comps hold back collectors from shooting their shot, following their intuition, and buying at an all-time high. I'd love perspective from both the buyer and the seller.
Sounds like somebody needs to solve this problem.
Yeah, that would be nice if there was a way to kind of get price information on super rare cards that don't sell very much.
God, man, I wish. Can you imagine?
That would be a powerful tool.
Let's hold on to that for like a couple weeks, that thought, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. But what if I'm the only person who's ever bought this card and only I know the date and the price that I paid for it? How do I do it then?
Man, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
It'd be nice if there was a solution that came out in a few weeks.
Christina says stop talking. So yeah, it's a good point. Especially at the show, like people are nervous to sell stuff too low, or people are afraid to buy stuff too high because there's no comps. I think you got to lean into like, do I actually want this card or not? And like, what do I want to pay for it? What's like a comfortable number for me to like buy this at? And if the dealer doesn't want to sell it at that price, then you just move on, right? Like figure out what's your max that you want to pay for something. Just like if you're gonna bid on an auction, figure out what you're comfortable paying, forgetting about like, trying to figure out some crazy comp or multiplier or like similar card and like trying to do all that math in your head on the fly, and just figure out what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It is difficult to buy rare cards, especially ones that just sell once or twice every year, because pretty much every time it sells, a record high is being set. And yeah, that can be difficult. I agree with you, Brett. Those comps do hold people back. People live and die by the comp. People really live and die by the comp, and sometimes they can be slow to adjust. But collectors drive a hard bargain. They don't want to be taken advantage of. Collectors have been taken advantage of many, many times. But it's a great topic. It's something, I don't know if there's a clear and present answer, but it's one that I'm glad you raised, and we can think about it. People are asking a little bit about, should you be wearing masks at this event, and if you're vaccinated and so forth? Like, look, guys, I'm no doctor, not even close, but people can transmit and receive diseases even if they're vaccinated with respect to that disease. And also there will be some people who are not vaccinated who will be there. So to everybody to do their part to prevent the transmission of disease, if you would like to do your part, you can wear your mask, even if you're vaccinated, as several people are saying in the chat. Even if you are, you can still have the disease. You can present yourself from transmitting it by wearing a mask. So you should not feel bad about wearing a mask. Wearing a mask is a safe option, and you are still providing a public service by wearing a mask, even if you are vaccinated. You can still help prevent the transmission of disease. And COVID and the Delta variant of COVID are not the only diseases out there either. there are other diseases that people get and transmit, and it's just better if people, generally speaking, don't get sick. Although even there, I'm sort of going too far beyond my expertise because there's something to be said about building up a resistance. I'll just stop there. Don't feel bad about wearing masks. You should wear masks.
And also follow the guidelines of, what the national recommends. If they're if like the hotel you're staying at is requiring a mask, then wear a mask. If the airlines and the airport requires you to wear a mask, then wear a mask. If the CDC recommends you should be wearing a mask in the city of Chicago around large crowds, wear a mask.
Yep, definitely. But this is a very contentious topic. In hobby,
Because it's turned into a political weapon, which is so annoying. It's like, this is basic human decency. Are you wanting to get other people sick? Yes or no? Like, this has nothing to do with politics, people.
No, I know. I can tell people in the chat are getting upset about this. On Hobby Clubhouse last night, there was like a 3-hour debate that reached its pinnacle when two guys were arguing about whether or not wearing a mask, whether or not wearing a mask is the equivalent of walking around in the street punching people in the face. So these are touchy issues. And I think being safe is always okay, because some people were wondering if they'll be ostracized for wearing masks. You will not.
I really hope not. My gosh. If you're doing something to make yourself more comfortable and safe, I don't see how anyone can be mad at you for that.
Right on.
Okay. Do you wear a bike helmet when you ride a bike? Oh, great.
Fair.
Some people do.
Yeah, he's saying it's fine to wear a bike helmet.
Some people don't.
Facts. She's getting real deep over there. Some people do, and also some people don't.
All right. Some people should definitely wear bike helmets. Okay. Cardinal Sports Cards says, with so many new market entrants in the last year and a half who buy the grade and not the card, will the reasoning behind the $840K Jordan PSA 10 sale, which went way above comps, and the reason being that it was a very exemplary copy, will that bring increased awareness to buy the card, not the grade, and wider price differences on cards that exist in the same grade? Or is this just a one-off situation?
It will not. That card literally had a sticker on it that told you it was better. If that S sticker wasn't on it, it would have sold for $350. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's right.
So this card is not a case of buy the card, not the grade. It literally was purchased for more than it would have been because of the extra grade. So no. Good.
That sums it up nicely. Slabs to Men says, okay, this is a question I referenced earlier. LeBron seemed to have taken a bit of a back seat in the hobby landscape of late. However, there are milestones on the horizon, as well as another season coming up where the Lakers should be contenders. What are your thoughts on the current state of his card values? And also, did Space Jam 2 have any effect on his card values?
Shockingly, no, it did not. Everyone's like, oh yeah, better buy your LeBron cards, keep everything. Space Jam 2 is coming out. We already knew it was coming out. Guys, we've known it was coming out for like 2 years. It's already baked in. We already know he's going to the Hall of Fame. None of that stuff is going to matter. LeBron's market is what it is. It'll fluctuate over time. It'll probably be fairly safe up and right, slowly like Michael Jordan. Just get in whenever you feel most comfortable, figure out what cards you like of his, and stop worrying about Hall of Fame and records and Space Jam and like that stuff. Those things are just blips on the radar. Like the Jordan documentary, blip up, back down, doesn't matter. Like these are just little events that have minor effects over the long term of these guys like this that we're talking about. So just figure out, do you want to collect them? Yes or no? When do you want to get in? How much money do you have to spend? What kind of cards are you after? Just don't worry about this like documentary crap and Space Jam and all that stuff is just silly.
Yeah, good. Long-term thinking. Peter Pac-Man says, Michael Jordan must be mad about LeBron cards selling for more than his, right? And I wrote back to Peter and I said, I think Mike's taking that personally.
And I took that personally. I love those memes. Uh, so there was like a funny like back and forth banter on someone posted a picture of like a bunch of LeBron cards they picked up and they were like, I had to trade one Michael Jordan card to get these 18 LeBrons, and everyone's like, yeah, that's what you got to do if you want to get if you want, like that's the value is 18 to 1, you got to trade. And I was like, so I made a snotty comment that's like, I don't know, guys, LeBron rookie cards always outsell Jordan rookie cards every time. And obviously it's because he's got more rare stuff and Jordan just has the flair, but like the comparisons there were just like so bad that I had to pile on with another bad comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I've become so jaded that I'm just like, oh, Vic says that was me.
Yeah. Well, Vic, I thought your guys' like I could totally tell you guys were it was like a funny joke, so I was like, let me pile on with a different one, and it was a funny back and forth.
Yeah, I'm so jaded at this point that I'm just like, okay.
Oh, you mean the Jordan LeBron thing?
Or just like expecting people to understand, like, oh, God, this is sad, but expecting people to understand like how population reports work, what a market cap is, whether rarity matters in the pricing of cards. I don't even try anymore. I'm done.
What about documentaries?
What about documentaries?
Well, just like, you're jaded. Are you jaded on like all these like same topics that keep getting brought up? Is that what you mean?
Well, I'm jaded in the sense that I've given up on my ability for people to process the complexity, and it's not very much complexity, that understanding things like why, like, people are confused about why Mahomes' Prism Silver PSA 10 is worth $8,500 and Josh Allen's Prism Silver PSA 10 is worth $15,000. There was like 10 comments on one of the Card Ladder posts like, this is so stupid, and I think it's relating back to Mahomes. And it's like, guys, there's thousands of PSA 10 Mahomes Prism Silver PSA 10s, and there's like 20 Josh Allen Prism Silver PSA 10s because Mahomes.
Like, if anything, the Allen's undervalued.
Like, well, let me make sure that I say the right number.
It's like 950 or something like that.
872. There's 872 Prism Mahomes PSA 10s, and Josh Allen Silver PSA 10s. There are 25. Okay.
So it's like 40 times as many, like 35 times as many.
Yes. And so there are and it requires understanding the fact that if Mahomes had a silver that was a pop 25 from his rookie year, that card would be valued very differently, and assuredly it would be worth more. And you have to understand that people don't open products, they don't think about product configurations. So they don't think about the fact that 2018 Prism, the silvers were very limited. Very, very limited. I think they were 2 per box or something like that. Super limited. Whereas in 2017, 1 per box. Whereas in 2017, as Carbon points out, silvers were the base rookie cards. Exactly, right? So, like, I've just become very jaded on expecting people to understand these nuances. I'm over it. I'm just like,
Luckily,
you get it? Yeah, I don't get it either, man. Oh my God, what do we do?
Luckily for us, Chris, population reports, and it doesn't matter. That's the nice thing. We could just all you gotta do is look at the price and compare them, and that's it. Like the Jordan Fleer sells for $800K, and the LeBron rookie sells for $5 million. Clearly, LeBron is the better player. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, I'm leaning into all that stuff. I'm all for it now. I've turned a new leaf. All right.
Unfortunately, you run a business and you can't ignore it 100%.
No, I can't. But I've run out of the energy of like trying to make a point that if anybody cared to know, they would just discover it on their own. So the fact that they don't know it is most likely a byproduct of the fact that no matter what I tell or explain to them, it's not making a dent. All right. Mahomes cards from Mahomes. Speaking of Mahomes cards.
I wonder if he knows.
Here's my hour 2 question. Who wants to help me start a grading company? Oh, great idea. That focuses on grading the grades that MBA, Mike Baker Authenticated, PWCC, and others already assigned to graded cards. So we can assign a grade of 1 through 10 to the fourth party grade that was assigned to an already graded third party grade card. And it can be an even tinier sticker that we can put on top of the graded card with the sticker.
Grade the grader that graded the grade.
Yeah. I mean, look, are all PWCCEs the same? No, right? PWCCE, I think, refers to the top 15%. So there's a best PWCCE, right? And there's a worst.
What if a policeman breaks the law? Who arrests the policeman? Is it another policeman, or is it like a? But like, what if the guy who arrests the policeman didn't do his job right? Who holds that guy accountable?
The justice system.
So,
Really,
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
It's obvious, right?
Very obvious. Yes. We need tiny stickers on top of already tiny stickers.
First time I saw the NBA sticker, the first question I asked was, "Can these be removed?"
That's a fair question, with little residue left.
When I saw that one on the PSA 10 Mickey Mantle, I almost cried.
Yeah, I mean, NBA. Look, they reached the mountaintop of the hobby with that. There's literally not a more impressive card to bear an NBA sticker than the Pop 3 PSA 10 Mantle.
What are you gonna say? You're like, I think it is a PSA 10. Well, yeah, of course it is. It literally is a PSA 10. It's the gold NBA PSA 10. What does that even mean? Isn't there like gold, platinum, so like those are all meaningless.
Yeah. Carvin says, I love when he says this. Carvin says, I'm starting my grading company, RAW. No lead times, no cost, and you can use your own protection.
He's always caught up. He never has a backlog.
Yeah, no wait times.
Well, this is like, I think people are like looking for this next thing on how to grade something. I don't know, man. There's a reason PSA is more expensive and they have a longer backlog because they've been doing this for 30 years, right? I might be off by a couple years on that, but like there's a lot to be said for a company that's has a lot of history grading cards and they know how to grade cards. So like let them grade the fucking cards. That's it.
Totally agree. And people, especially investors, are so concerned with value and about knowing if their particular copy is the most valuable. And they have rightly pointed out that there is a variance even within a grade. It's more easy to see with Beckett because with Beckett you have True Gem Plus, True Gem Plus Plus, True Gem, Minimum Gem. So in those sell for very different prices. So like it's very obvious with Beckett that Gem Mint copies have different tiers. With PSA, it's not so easy to see it because of the subgrades. But there are different calibers of PSA 10s. There just are. And there are people who really care about that. And they want to have the best PSA 10 of the PSA 10s. And then there are companies who are grading the grades in order to help them figure out which ones are the best copies. It all exists, and I understand why it exists.
I think there's like this really weird back and forth shaming of like you should be buying the card. Oh, you should be buying the PSA 10. You just get the PSA 10, you'll be fine. Oh no, don't do that. Get the 9.5 because the value's better and it looks better. And it's like, how about I just buy what I want? You just leave me alone. How about you stop telling me what to buy? How about that?
Okay, yeah, that's a very fair point. So look, this is worth mentioning here. All right, this is from PSA's own website. Here is the definition of a PSA 10. A PSA 10 Gem Mint is a virtually perfect card Attributes include 4 perfectly sharp corners, sharp focus, and full original gloss. A PSA 10 must be free of staining of any kind, but an allowance may be made for a slight printing imperfection if it does not impair the overall appeal of the card. The image must be centered on the card within a tolerance not to exceed approximately 55-45 to 60-40 on the front and 75-25 on the reverse.
Fucking plain as day right there. So someone's like, oh, look at the centering on the back. It's terrible. It's got a PSA 10. That's right there. They let you go up to 75-25 on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, but the other point I would make here is that, like, okay, so if you have a card that's 50-50 on the front and 50-50 on the back, and it also has 4 sharp corners, sharp focus, full original gloss, and it has no surface imperfections, that is a better copy than a copy that's 60-40 on the front, 75-25 on the back, and has a surface imperfection. And those both would be PSA 10s. So, like, it is true that there are different grades of PSA 10. It is true, because 10 is the highest you can go.
We put it on a 1,000,000-point scale, every card would be a different grade.
Yes. And look, and SGC did something kind of like that. They once had a 100-point scale, and guess what? It didn't work. They went back to the more simple 10-point scale. So
You got to draw the line somewhere. And again, people are going to be pissed at you no matter where you draw that line. You got to do what's best for your company, the market, the customers, etc.
right on. All right. Nonsense name cards has an important hour 2 question.
Okay.
Does Creed from The Office does he PC OJ Simpson or Aaron Hernandez? And who do the other Office characters collect?
Oh my gosh. He seems like O.J. Simpson, a little bit more his era, he's a little bit older. I go O.J. Simpson. Let's see. I feel like Ryan would just like buy Trae Young. He would just like buy all the Trae Young. He just seems like that guy that's got to be buying the sexy young hot player, Michael Scott would be buying Tracy McGrady, LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, players that came straight to pros out of high school, didn't go to college.
That's really good.
That was good. I did well on that one. Let's see. Jim seems like... What?
He's an Eagles fan.
Wrong sport. Well, fine. We're sticking to basketball.
Jim, Julian, Dr.
Said,
Joe.
the 3 O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson is not a basketball player.
I know. All right. But can we do basketball? We all understand basketball.
He played basketball with what's-his-face when he was in
Oh,
Philly.
that's right. Yes, he did. Oh, you just let Josh not have fun of guessing it. All right, go ahead, Josh.
I said Jim would collect Dr. J. Thanks, Christina.
Yep.
He also seems like a LeBron guy. He seems like
there are references to LeBron on the show as well.
He seems like a LeBron guy. Let's see. Oh, you take some. Jump in.
Well, back to collecting, said Toby would collect cricket cards.
Toby would collect players we all hate.
Yes, he would. Man,
Toby would collect Ron Artest.
You went a little pixelated there. I'm not sure if that's my
Sorry.
connection or yours.
Toby would collect Ron Artest.
Yeah. I don't want to name a PC player that somebody else has in their PC that we know, and then who would Angela collect? How about that?
I don't know. Dwight. Dwight's the one I want to know.
Who would Dwight collect? Who would Pam collect, Christina?
I already wrote because you didn't want me talking.
Pam is collecting arena design inserts. Who would Dwight collect?
Arvidas Sabonis.
I think Dwight would collect Shaquille O'Neal.
I think he would collect Dirk.
Dirk? I think Dwight collects
German.
Oh, good. Yeah, the German connection. He would also collect Maxi Kleber.
Yeah, he would.
Good. Dwight would collect Kareem.
I could see that. Oh, yeah, the goggles. Yep, there you go.
Kevin's PC is Dennis Rodman because he's awesome.
Yeah, I could see that. Let me think. Oscar. I'm trying to think of some of the other oddball characters. I don't know. It's hard. You just like, I don't know. You're just sort of guessing.
Yeah, but Ryan with Trae Young is gold, and Michael Scott with the Straight to Pros is very good also.
Angela's collecting Allen and Ginter, like, cats.
Oh, cat
Like,
cards.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. The egg card.
Oh, that's very good.
I feel like Jim would convince Dwight to buy the egg.
Yeah.
What was the name of Idris Elba's character? He's collecting only soccer. Idris Elba's like Charles. He's super high on soccer cards. We're in the second inning of soccer.
Oh, dude. Bob Vance Refrigeration would collect William Perry. That's a good one. Well done.
The fridge.
That was good.
Captain Fernando 23. You get a shout out. That was good.
That was very, very good.
Good job. Bob Vance Refrigeration.
Will the egg card be big at the National?
Eggs are pretty small. I don't know.
You may see a few egg cards at the National. I wouldn't be surprised about that. That's when you knew the hobby was way too high on itself when there actually was an egg card movement actually happened, unironically. Good. All right. Waiting for any more from the chat here. Office PC.
Captain Fernando said that Michael would collect coach cards. I can see that.
Yes. Oh, Fat Snacks. Jordan is buying any out of 5 or 1 of 1 egg card. The egg market lives on. The egg market lives on. Okay.
Chris, I'm a little worried about Cards and Candy. Is he okay?
Cards and Candy did not submit a question this week.
So we should do a wellness check on him after this.
Can you DM Cards and Candy?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Just make sure that he's okay. This seems like one of those distress calls from him.
Yeah. But to his credit, he has sent more than enough questions to make he can take a week off.
He could take a year off, to be honest.
No, not a year. He saved us on 1 or 2 days when the questions were not very, when the hobby was at a bad place.
When you were given F's out.
When I was given F's out, yeah. Mike Hayes says, BGS slabs with no subgrades. Are they a value buy or destroy them all?
Destroy them all.
Ditto. Please destroy them all.
I'm so mad that it's even an option.
Me too. Dr. Beckett has spoken on his podcast about how he was against that. And it's too bad that it happened. It should have never happened. And shame on you if you graded a BGS slab and you didn't get grades.
Also, BGS white labels, under an 8.5, and their blue label are fucking horrible. I hate them.
They tried. I saw what they were going for with like the tiling, the logo, but it just didn't.
The blue is, their authentic blue is like, it looks like a placeholder for something else. It looks so bad.
Yeah. Adam says Pam's old fiance Roy bought Bowl at the peak.
That's a good one right there.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's good.
Oh no, gosh, Todd Packer would also buy Bowl.
Yeah, Todd Packer's just constantly
Sean Watson?
buying.
Oh, I know. That's pretty good. Todd Packer would just buy whatever sports card investor tells him to buy.
Yes, exactly. Todd Packer's just going from one hot topic to the next.
He just watch every top 5 video and just sit there and buy everything up. He'd been buying a lot of De'Aaron Fox, that poor guy.
Todd Packer's always on the road going from show to show.
He's like,
at a loss.
Oh, you a big William Hung fan? Who the hell is that? Why does everybody keep asking me that? William Hunt.
That's good. Where's my other hour 2 question? Oh, I guess that was it. That's good.
You're out of questions?
No, I have more. But
Keep going.
I'm enjoying these fun questions. Todd Packer, pump and dump artist? Totally.
Todd Packer is all of our favorite Instagram accounts.
Todd Packer's a hobby influencer.
He's a hobby influencer.
Okay. PK Cards wants to know, does Card Ladder plan on adding Panini inserts in the future? I collect case hits, and it's tough to find cool-looking inserts. I would love to track my collection. I appreciate the great content, guys. Thanks. I let him know that we have some case hits. We have the Aurora inserts. We have the Night Move inserts. We have several others as well.
Tell him to DM me.
And I actually asked him to give me some other suggestions for insert sets, and he did. And he named a few on the comments to this post. So, yeah. And inserts are, insert sets like on the horizon, Aurora, some of this stuff. They actually were one of the few bright spots when a lot of cards were going down over the last 6 months. The on the horizons, the Auroras, the Kabooms, that stuff's still kept hitting all-time highs. And so we love to have inserts, and the more the merrier. Especially because those are your prototypical up and to the right type of cards for the most part.
Yeah, they're more rare, and collectors don't panic sell them when the prices go down. That's a good call.
Yeah. Flippity flip cards. If you had to collect one 90s NFL star, who would it be and why?
Oh. God, I wish I had infinite money. That'd be so awesome. I would have so many PCs. It would just be obnoxious. It would be so obnoxious. Barry Sanders. Sorry, I stole your answer.
That's all right. It's the right answer.
Peyton Manning's the 90s. His rookie year's in the 90s. You can take that one.
Peyton is late 90s. Brett Favre, right? Reggie White and Brett Favre, very good. Totally.
Randy Moss.
Oh, shout out Sports Card Uncut. Damn. Yeah, check out that page, man. That's a new podcast coming out. Randy Moss, very good. Very, very good. Jerry Rice. Can we call that 90s?
Barry Sanders and Jerry Rice. Or Barry Sanders has the worst rookie card of any football player. It's so bad. Emmitt Smith's is worse, actually. Emmitt Smith is the worst rookie card.
I don't know. Have you seen Travis Kelce's?
What's wrong with Travis Kelce's?
Sticker.
It looks like a Playgirl pinup picture.
So bad. He's in a photo booth. It's terrible.
What? Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, yeah. Although it is true that a lot of these guys do have 80s rookie cards, but
their 90s cards are cool though.
Yep. Yes, they are. Any player who, was active and a great player during the 90s especially the late 90s, has some awesome cards.
Deion's a good one. Deion, Barry, Jerry Rice. John Elway would be cool.
Oh, yeah. John Elway for sure.
Vinny Testaverde. The list goes on and on.
Vinny Testaverde, the one fact I always remember about him, he was colorblind.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
He was. I remember he threw an interception on a game on Thanksgiving Day, and the announcers pointed it out, and it just stuck with me. Good. You can't really go wrong collecting 90s football, especially at the prices compared to its basketball counterparts.
They're pretty expensive now, though, dude. They used to be way cheaper.
Yeah. All right. Well, I stand corrected then. T.O., T.D., Terrell Davis, yeah. Ray Lewis. Mm-hmm. Steve McNair. Let's go.
Wasn't Ray Lewis drafted in... I guess he was what year was Ray Lewis drafted?
90.
All right, next question.
Let's see.
Akabatuka, dude. NFL Blitz. Tim Yakabatuka was a beast in that game. Yakabatuka.
Lewis's rookie cards appear in 1996.
Ooh, that dude is much older than I thought. Next question.
Aaron James, Ray Lewis was drafted 96. There you go. Mike Pinkerton 50 asks, do you guys see any new sports card technology coming to the hobby, similar to what Card Ladder did a year ago?
Well, Card Ladder itself will continue to come out with new technology. Does that count?
That definitely counts. That's a tricky question because if we do foresee something like that, Mike,
We ain't gonna tell you.
why would we say it here? But nice try.
I've got this revolutionary idea. Just listen very carefully. Are you listening? Here's the idea.
Oh no, your mic is gone mute.
Did you catch that?
Must have broke up there.
Well, oh well.
No going back. Oh boy, Cardborn has a question. This is a non-investment question. Who and what should we buy at the National and why? Should we just follow Sports Card Investor and Sports Card Invest, two different people, and buy everything that they're buying?
Yeah, it sounds like Todd Packer and whatever Todd Packer's buying, that's what I'd be buying.
That's a question that answers itself. We get a few of those every show. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Cardboard. That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. We keep tabs on stuff like that. Every time we come out with something, it miraculously gets released on other platforms 2 weeks later. And they try to tout it like they came up with something revolutionary. Guys, we are going to start tracking cards sales from multiple platforms. You heard it here first.
The one that kills me is when sports card apps, market themselves as having the most accurate data. I go on their app, the very first card that I look at, I open the sales history, and half of it is sales for the wrong card. That's the one that just kills me. Everybody has the most accurate data. No, you don't. You are lazy. You have automated processes that are not finely tuned and not stress tested. Your data is garbage, and it's actually bad for the hobby. And you should really try to get your data accurate so you don't mislead people. Seriously.
Basically, if you see Chris at the National, first wear your mask, but second, give that man a hug. Don't even say anything. Just hug him and then walk away, and he'll know what it means.
You can hug from a
He'd
distance.
probably freak out if you just came up to him and hugged him.
Nope. Yeah, we don't want.
Well, so then if you're worried about that, make sure you hug him from behind so that he doesn't, push you away.
You hug him around the neck with one arm and hold it tight.
He really likes long, very like drawn out hugs. That's one of his things.
Here's a question from the chat. Now that we've seen Jeff on stage at a Vegas club, where's the next place you'd like to see him? Ride to Space? The Indy 500? Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
Is it a one-way ticket?
I don't know why that Nathan's hot dog eating contest is so funny, but it's hilarious.
How many hot dogs does that guy eat? Like when he wins, how many?
75 or something fucking ridiculous.
I feel like it's more than that.
Does any like decent person watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest and think this isn't gross? This is just fine. Oh,
yeah, you're right. The champ gobbled down 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes, topping by one wiener his own world record set last year to win the annual Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest. It was Chestnut's 14th victory in 15 years.
This is how I watch it. This is how I watch the hot dog eating contest.
It's horrible, man. It's not.
Well, you know what? The irony of Jeff sending every card to the moon and us actually sending him to the moon is pretty rich.
6 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Yeah.
He's just like eating them normal. He's got like putting ketchup on them and
He would not understand the soaking in water method. He wouldn't get it. He wouldn't understand why that's happening.
what do you think the top 5 hot dogs of all time are?
Well, one of them's at Gene and Jude's in Chicago, which is a must-do if you're visiting Chicago for the first time.
Let's rank pizza, not hot dogs. Let's stop this right here.
Yeah, cut that one off. First of all, relish on the hot dog.
No, what?
Okay. All right, that's just that's a key question I have to ask from time to time.
Now, like, I'm glad you told me this now. God.
Yeah, you don't want relish on the hot dog. This is the hot dog champion, by the way, guys. Joey Chestnut. I mean, if this is what defies logic. This guy is a lean guy. All those hot dogs are somehow in his stomach, and we celebrate that? Like I don't know. USA Today wants to send me notifications, and I'm going to say no to that. Chicago dog. Yeah, Gene and Jude's is a famous hot dog place. Fenway Franks, Nathan's, Hebrew National, Ballpark, Oscar Mayer. Damn, there you go. There's your top 5 hot dogs going up. We have one question left. One question. Kind of a slow showing for the week before National. Maybe everybody's just getting ready to go to National. Yes, we are an hour 2 now, Callie dreaming. LA street dog at 2 a.m. Yeah, any food from a street vendor at 2 a.m. is going to taste good. But part of that's because you're drunk. O'Hare Airport sells the most hot dogs per year. Oh, nice. Good. We actually had a top 5 hot dogs going up list come in, so.
You should try to see if you can go 5 minutes without saying good.
Good?
You're like, you just like, it's like when things are paused and you're just don't know what to say, you're like, good.
Good is definitely my go-to. My grandpa used to say, very good, very good.
Oh, so you've actually like evolved down.
I'm a little more modest.
You're more modern. You're more conservative.
Yes. More conservative than good old grandpa.
You can learn a lot from grandpas, I think. A lot.
Yeah. Both what to do and not to do.
Depending on the grandpa, yeah.
Depending upon the grandpa.
Top 5 toppings on pizza, pepperoni, and everything else is trash.
We have one question left from this week, and then there's like dozens of leftovers that I've kept from the last week's. And this question is like really, because we talked about it last week, but let me just mention it. So I can be like Jeremy of Sports Cards Live and have the completion of having read every question.
Nice.
Hawks and Habs says, it would be great to get your comments on the SPX LeBron rookie patch auto PSA 10 that was pulled from Heritage and highlighted on Card Porn's account. It clearly seems to be trimmed, but within PSA guidelines, so it was kept as a PSA 10. Heritage has since pulled the listing. And then JHC Cards also had a question on this. Ramifications of the LeBron card from Heritage withdrawn, even after PSA couldn't conclude that it was trimmed. So, like, I would say one thing about this, it is kind of funny that, so look, PSA has every incentive in the world to get a trimmed card out of their holders. Card values only tend to go up over time. And, PSA, because of their guarantee policy, they're only going to have to pay a larger and larger claim down the line if it's like later determined and confirmed that it's trimmed. So rather than buy the card back at a higher price later, they'd much rather buy it back at a lower price right now, I think, like just from an incentive point of view. So the fact that they were not willing to buy this card back, and that they're standing by the grade that was assessed is meaningful. But I also think that, like, Heritage probably knew that there was some monkey business going on with this card. It seemed pretty likely that there was, but they didn't want to make the tough decision. They wanted to push it off onto PSA, say, PSA, you determine that this card is bad. You take care of the consignor by paying the market value for the card, using the guarantee, and then everybody's happy. But I think PSA threw a wrench in that plan when they just kicked the card back and they said, nah, it's fine. We looked at it. It's good. And so then I think Heritage was like, okay, damn it. We have to pull this card. We have to disappoint our consignor, and we're going to have to make the call. So they did. That's my read of the situation.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. It's never fun dealing with that crap. But people are out there swapping patches. They are out there trimming cards. And it sucks. And
When you have like pictures before and after, it's like really hard to swallow that pill, because it's like, yeah, PSA, I know you said it's good again, but like I have pictures that show that it's probably not.
yeah, and it's really dumb too, because the card was a PSA 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the before pictures are a PSA 9, and then it got itself, allegedly it was trimmed into a PSA 10. Like, the PSA 9 now is worth more, I'm quite sure, than the PSA 10 was when it was trimmed. So, great. But
Great?
great. Hats off to PSA for their guarantee policy, though.
Oh no, I was joking about how you've upgraded from good to great.
Yeah, I know. I that was intentional. Now I'm with great.
Good. You're thinking about it now. I'm in your head now.
Interesting.
All right, one more question. Just make something up.
Let's see here. All these, I haven't been in the mood for serious questions tonight.
Oh yeah, me neither. I'm way too deep now.
We're way too deep. I have dozens of serious questions from weeks past, but let's just
It's like, what do you think about the market dynamics of the PSA 10 versus the
Yeah, I know. Not those. Yep. That's not.
Okay, here we go. People start dropping restaurant suggestions for the Rosemont, Chicago area. Pizza, specifically what pizza joints are good in the Rosemont area around the national show. Start dropping food recommendations. What are your guys' favorites? What should people be hitting up? Do you have any, Chris?
No, but I am pulling up a map, a Google map search. Maybe people have been to some of these. So here is the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. And then some of the surrounding, you have Gibson's Bar and Steakhouse, Carmine's, Trulux Ocean Food, the Capitol Grill, McCormick and Schmick's, Fogo de Chao.
Is Giordano's good?
Yeah, it is good. That's actually, it depends upon if you like thick pizza.
I don't.
Well, then
They
skip
have
it.
thin pizza.
Yeah, but nobody goes
Christina,
to Giordano's for their thin pizza.
Christina, translate for me. What pizza do I want in this area?
I've had Giordano's thin crust pizza. It's okay. It's not New Haven,
Closest McDonald's.
but nothing else is New Haven. So
I would probably get a thick pizza there because, I want to get what's your best, but yeah.
So, quick aside, Blake Jameson is doing a trade night on Thursday nights, and it starts later than
9.
Card Collector 2's. Yeah, it
The
starts
same
at
hotel,
9,
too.
and it's in the same hotel. So you can just trade all night at the Hyatt, right?
Mhm.
You can trade all night at the Hyatt with Card Collector 2 and Blake Jameson. If you are interested in Giordano's, there's one that's not far from the convention center.
I feel like we should hit that place up, Chris.
I'd go to Giordano's.
Well, yeah, I would make you go.
But we think we're going to have time. We're not going to have time. Maybe we could have Giordano's delivered to the hotel at like midnight.
Ooh, yeah, we're talking. Yeah, the one thing that you're like, you know what, Chris? We got about 3 hours of downtime. What do you want to do? That's never going to happen.
No. No, it's not. It's definitely not.
I like the idea of ordering at the hotel. All right, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, does a deep dish pizza get sort of soggy and when it gets delivered that far versus eating it right there?
It can. It can. I don't know. We have a Giordano's in Rockford, so and we and it's about 30 minutes away, so we have to go pick it up, and it's actually fine, I think, right? Yeah. No. Yeah. It's definitely delivery safe.
What's going to be the biggest difference between Blake Jameson's trade night and Ryan Card Collector 2's? Because Ryan's been doing it for a long time, and from my perspective, he's done a great job. It gets better every year. Is Blake going to be a little bit? Is the vibe going to be different?
It's a great question. Go to both and find out.
Go to both.
Cash bar at Blake's, nice. Grease in the deal wheel.
Yeah, it seems like the Blake Jameson is more the adult version of the trade night.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bar and being later at night and stuff.
It's in an adult time of nights.
I'm also going to say, from my personal experience, artists throw the best parties.
Ooh. Oh, and SCI is sponsoring Card Collector 2's.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
There's something there.
Rockford, Illinois, East High School E-Rabs. Yeah, okay, we've got a Rockford native in here. Hello.
Does your like chat sometimes just like shrink down where you can't even read it? Like the group, it's so annoying.
That is very annoying. Yeah, no, I hate when that happens too.
It should like do what I want way more easily.
PJ Washington will be signing at Ryan's. Yes, I've heard of this. I've heard about this.
Is Lonzo Ball going to be there?
You know, I was looking at Lonzo Ball prices, and they were the highest in the summer of 2019, and they've just been going down ever since.
It's almost like when he tells you to buy something, it immediately goes down.
Or slowly tanks over time.
No, I lied. It immediately goes up and then tanks over time.
Well, if you listen to him, you sold your Giannis cards at the beginning of the playoffs. So, congratulations, guys. You won the Heisman.
This show picked Giannis, and that show said that he was going to flame out early.
Oh, I should clarify, the summer of 2020, not the summer of 2019. Let me clarify that. Yeah. Dude, a lot of people counted Giannis out and/or didn't like that he just stayed in Milwaukee. Everybody's favorite team wanted Giannis to come to them, right? And he didn't.
That's the thing about Giannis. Of anyone else in NBA history, can you name someone that's like improved as much as him year over year based on where they started? So like, why would you doubt someone to like improve when that's all they've proven, when that's all they do? Like, I just don't understand that. Like, oh, we figured Giannis out the wall, and like he's done. He's never gonna win in the playoffs. That's crazy to me.
Giannis isn't done getting better either.
No, he's not. He's 26, dude. He was so good in that finals. It was obnoxious.
Yeah, no one talks about this, but like he was making mid-range fadeaways contested.
Yeah.
he added some stuff to his bag, and
He made every fucking free throw. An asshole. He did not miss a free throw on that game.
That's right. That's right. He was like 17 of 19 or whatever.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was, if he shoots 50% in Game 7 instead of that
You lose.
percentage, totally different game.
That's annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying.
It's so annoying.
All right. This is the last crossover before the National. Any final thoughts here before we take a small break? And every day will be an in-person crossover.
I still have some beer, so I'm not going anywhere until you boot me off this thing.
Okay, well, we are on the main stage Thursday at 12:30.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
We still don't really know yet. we have some ideas, right? We have some ideas. Although
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I'm so scared to say anything on this show because anything and everything gets taken, and I'm not going to say what we're working on, but it's worth coming.
Christina's like, don't tell him.
Yeah.
No.
Christina just has like a card with a stop sign on it. She just holds it up.
Hilarious. A sarcasm sign.
Yeah. Adam, what days will you be there?
Yeah, we are going to be there Tuesday through Sunday, right?
Yeah. Yep. We'll be there Tuesday evening. And the top 5 seltzers, nice. We'll be there Tuesday evening, and then we'll be there Saturday night, but we won't be set up on Sunday.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Carvin too for plugging us in and helping us get on the main stage.
Oh yeah, I forgot the Carbon set that up. That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Yep. I don't know if the main stage audio is broadcast. That's a good question. I actually have no idea how that's going to work. But the main stage was the place that produced many Gary V quotables from the 2019 National.
That one was packed. I was like sitting in the back.
Yeah.
There were so many people. Remember that? No, you weren't at that. There were so many people at that one that it was just insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt, dude. I have no doubts. Oh, shout out to Josh Luber for suggesting this little feature that Cardboard Chronicles, Josh added. This pop now visible on the ladder. This is fun. Just like scrolling, it's a really nice number to look at.
Ask and you shall receive, Chris.
Exactly. Good suggestion. Yes.
It's
Yes,
definitely better.
Carbon. Okay. I am going to wrap this up. We've got stuff to do tonight still. See you guys in the National.
Good.
Very good.
Good.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.